Okay, we are going live, and we are going to take people on a boat ride today.
Do you have your life jackets? Because I think we only have 25 aboard, so you will need to bring your own if you're going to join for this.
Yeah, so we just anchored for lunch here at Thursday Cove in the south side of Barnes Sound. And we're like, where should we stop for the night? And looked ahead, and Steamboat Creek on the north side seems good. And Cherie's like, hey, let's take everybody for our boat rides and just do a short cruise together live past all these beautiful mangroves. And This is the north end of Key Largo, and so you get to hang out and go on a boat ride. This is not going to be super exciting unless you like boat rides. Which,
if you like boat rides, it'll be fun.
It's not going to be
fast. Maybe not because it's not. We go slow. But once we get started, we have to weigh the anchor. So we'll point the camera so you guys can watch us do that. And then we'll just kind of cruise along the mangroves up here until we need to cross the sound so you get some of the scenery.
No, we'll be just cruising along the shoreline the whole way.
Okay, we'll cruise along the shoreline.
You'll get some pretty scenery and a ride and hopefully no excitement because, excitement on a boat ride is usually not so good. But, but relax.
So give me a moment to spread this on social real quick and we're going to get ready. We'll be weighing anchor here just shortly. Get your life jackets and, of course, your tropical drink ready.
Tropical.
The car and the keys.
Okay. I'll let you watch the mangroves here. There we go. There's some water for you guys.
Watch the birdies.
And we will be pulling anchor in just a second. I'll start warming the engines. Okay, starting up the engine.
We'll do the engines. Let me get this all out.
Okay.
We'll get officially started.
Okay.
Just a moment.
Everything about boating is relax and chill. I'll start the trackers. So we actually use a Garmin InReach to do a GPS log of all our spots and track live on satellite. And yes, and that's actually one of the perks for people who join us on Patreon, and you don't feel like you need to, but if you join us on Patreon, you can actually watch our tracker live. So that is one of the perks. I'm starting the track, and anybody who happens to be one of our patrons, you can watch this.
Start. Exactly where we are.
Yes, you'll see it in real time. There we are. Satellite tracking engaged. And if you don't have satellite tracking, just go to Google Maps, look up Barnes Sound, and you'll see where we're cruising.
Just north of Key Largo.
Whoa. We have fighter jets shooting overhead.
They don't like us going live.
Yeah. Well, two of them. Some fighter maneuvers overhead. Oh, yes, it is weighing anchor. Got it. I saw somebody pop up, do you miss the RV? We love our RV and we're looking forward to it. We've got a big a winter trip in the RV planned, and we just would like best of both worlds is our plan, so boat and RV. And we did get to have the unintentional RV trip while we were evacuating from Hurricane Irma. And, parts of that were nice. It was good to be back in the bus, but hey.
Yep, and she also asked what are some of the differences, and we actually have 2 live cast videos where we went over a bunch of that on that, but there's a lot of differences, and it would take like an hour for us to go over it all again. So you ready to get the engine started?
Let's start the engines and weigh some anchors.
Alrighty. We'll take them to help us do an engine check.
Oh, well, we're not going to do all the fluids again.
No, we're not, okay. But I'll let them see the bubbles. So.
Oh, okay. Do it.
Okay, so where's the spinny thing? Corner. Okay, different than on. Okay, so Chris is going down into the pilot house, and he's going to turn on both the engines, and then I will take you to the rear, and we'll just make sure that water's flowing.
The catch, he's right over the door.
So what I do is I look down to make sure that bubbles are coming out the back, and that just tells me that the water cooling, which is how the engines are cooled, are flowing. And we have 2 engines, so we check both sides, and we do have bubbles coming out both and water flow. And we did check this morning. We did a full oil, coolant, and propeller shaft check this morning before we left out of Tavernier. So we've already done 16 miles today. This was just a lunch stop, and this is kind of here. Let's show the map of where we are.
Oh, okay, so we are in Barnes Sound, which is, zoom out, you can see, well, this is not the best one zoomed out because I got the fake water on just to help us avoid running aground, but so we're in Barnes Sound in South Florida. Miami's up yonder that way, and Key Largo is right there behind us, and we just went under the bridge a little while ago.
Your finger's right over the track.
The bridge that connects the Keys to the mainland,
right.
And then there's another key bridge up here.
So you can see the track that we've already done today. So we've been cruising up. We did 16 miles earlier this morning. We stopped for lunch here at Thursday Cove, which is where we currently are. This is Thursday Cove, a lovely little protected anchorage, and we considered staying here overnight, but decided, yeah, why not go for more today. Now this is Thursday Cove.
Okay.
Our lunch stop. Are you going to do the anchor, or am I going to do the anchor?
I've got the, anyway, go either way.
Okay, so the trip that we're going to be taking, the anchorage that we're aiming for is up at the top corner?
Yep, top.
There? So we're aiming for up there, and we're actually just going to cruise the shoreline so you guys can see the mangroves, because out in the middle of the water isn't as exciting, usually. All right, so you're going to set that up?
Yep, I'll set this up to watch. Okay. Hey, we are watching weighing anchor.
All right, you want to do console, or do you want to do, I'll do the windlass?
Okay.
So we do split chores on our boat. We are co-captains, so, but we always coordinate on that.
Oh, the anchor alarm is on my phone. It's going to start going off.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me, hopefully YouTube doesn't pause while I turn off the anchor alarm. There we go. I think we're not using, this is actually broadcasting straight over our AT&T Unlimited plan, but we do Verizon quite often. Okay, we're back, we're broadcasting, we're weighing anchor. I don't see them. Yeah. This is quite a little piece of little cove.
had asked if there's any traffic out here, and we have pretty much only seen, I think, 2 boats this morning actually in motion.
Yeah, this is a very quiet day on the water, right? Because the hurricane and it's not quite season yet.
Peter says they've got some EarTech headsets this year that make docking and working with anchor much easier. We actually find that we're much more efficient with hand signals after 11 years of full-time RVing and using that. And we've tried headsets, we've tried radio controls and things like that, and it's just more gizmos to have to fiddle with and have charged up and working, and we just found that was more annoying than not. So we're really good with hand signals and body language talking with each other because we've got that experience. And so far has not been an issue, and especially when one of us is handling lines, the last thing, and having an ear set. I'm also hard of hearing. That's an issue for me. So even having something in my ear, we just rely more on hand signals when we can. Fred had asked, what's the longest trip we've been on so far? And
38 nauticals, or?
I think 37.4 nautical miles, and that was our crossing from Russell Pass in Everglades City down to Little Shark River when we're in the Everglades. And that video is up. If you look at we just posted that over the weekend. We're trying to catch up to our pre-marathon and Hurricane Irma footage to get caught up to real time with our travelogue videos. And of course our real-time ones are real-time. So I know it does get a little bit of timeline difficulty, and the wind is kicking up out here.
This may be more video than audio. It's just a calm, cool cruise. It's amazing how just being sheltered a little bit can make things so chill. Being around that little point, Thursday Point.
Getting around shaky on a boat. You are on waves. Even if I mounted it more secure, it is mounted very securely, and a boat moves. That's kind of part of the point.
Yeah, we might be able to come up with a more rigid mount for a future, but this is just for the moment. We'll get rid of the shark bounciness, perhaps.
You guys more towards the mangroves. This request for live drone footage. I think that's a little bit too much for us to be navigating while we are underway.
And it's too windy.
It is way too windy for the drone here. But yeah, we will try to, when we're in a non-windy situation, no boats around, and feel safe, we'll get some more in-motion drone footage. How fast are we going, Chris? We are currently 6.5 knots. So the look of booking it is mostly the wind, because we are kind of heading right into the wind.
Yes. Oh gosh, yeah. We can go a lot faster.
Yes, we could get this boat up on plane. We can do about 16, 17 knots pretty easy. We don't do that very often though. Peter asked if we find 6.5 knots to be the most fuel efficient. We have not run enough fuel through our boat to have discovered where our fuel efficiency is.
And we're hoping to get a better gauges that will actually show us our real-time efficiency. That's one of our upgrades.
Right, so we're probably going to get a flow meter installed so we can monitor that and actually figure out what our efficiency is. We're going just based off what other Bayliner owners have reported in and kind of judging based in. We go more by RPMs than knots because your knots are going to change depending upon current and wind, depending upon how much power you've got going into it. So it's not necessarily what's most efficient knot-wise as much as also the RPMs of the engine. So there was a request if we need to look out for shoals or anything like that. So I'll show you the GPSs that we're looking at.
We got 3 of them.
We have 3 looking at our charts right now. And this one is...
Avionics there.
This is an avionics. So the darker the blue, the shallower. That's kind of weird to me on a charting. I'm getting used to that. The lighter is the deeper. So we have no shoals. This shows us the shoaling. And
crab pots here.
Lots of crab pots out, so that's one reason we are going slow. If you see the crab pots out there, one over
the white dots, yeah.
The little white dots on the horizon, and those have pots at the bottom of the ocean and long ropes or chains coming up. We definitely want to keep those out of the propellers, so we are dodging those. It's one reason to go slow in these waters.
This is nothing compared to what we had to go through the other day.
Oh yeah.
It was a slalom course.
Yep.
So you got the avionics.
All right.
Next up, we've got another iPad running Garmin software, so we got kind of the best of the 2 biggest maps systems on iPads, and they're fabulous apps. And then we've got a very old but nice outdoor daylight readable Garmin chart plotter.
This is the one that came with the boat.
Yeah, so that will be replaced with something with more modern charts and modern features and radar and all that other good stuff at some point in the very near future.
Someone asked if you're going on Autopilot.
Yes.
So there is the Autopilot remote control. You can control you set the course, and then you can make 1 degree adjustments.
Or 10 in the dodge mode.
Yep. So one of the planned upgrades when we get to Fort Pierce is we will be replacing all of the electronics and a lot of the gauges on the boat. So this is all stuff will be upgraded probably by the end of the year. We are still dealing with the boat's original tech, which was circa 1999. Sorry for the wind, can't control that.
You can show what it's like to ride the top.
Yeah, I'll take you guys down below so you can see what it's like inside the boat too. And there's the dinghy. You can see there is no boat traffic out here. We are pretty much on our own. We have seen all of 2 boats in 20 miles of cruising this morning. I'll take you guys through a walk of the boat so you can see what it's like underway inside, and there'll be less wind. See where Kiki hangs out. So that we can also pilot from inside the boat. So this is the Pilothouse Room of our Bayliner 4788. So if the weather is inclement or we just want to be indoors, we can navigate all, duplication of all of the controls down here. And in fact, the fuel gauge is the only thing down here that we don't have upstairs. And then all of the control panels. So our dinghy is an Achilles, and it is their aluminum inflatable line. It is just over 10 feet. I think it's 10 feet 2. There's looking up at our pilot, Chris. CS Ranch, no, we do not have AIS yet. That was not invented when this boat was birthed, but we will by the end of the year. That is an upgrade that we will be getting. So here's our salon. And we love just the wraparound windows in here. And the engines are purring underneath that throw rug. So there's 2 hatches that open up. And we did a full engine check this morning before we left out. We originally thought we wanted an aft cabin sun deck trawler style, but once we saw the Bayliner layout with these wraparound windows in the salon, we just fell in love with the layout and decided, okay, it's worthwhile going with the larger boat, because we originally thought we wanted a 40-footer. Yes, we do use both engines when we're cruising. We looked into what it's like to do one or the other, and you have to compensate, and really overall it doesn't save you all that much. I'll take you down into the berths as well. So we've got a guest berth, which is currently in storage mode. Our boat is 47 feet long. We have a washer and dryer there. The dryer doesn't work so much. We have a guest bath here with a full shower, sink, and commode. And then our master berth, master cabin as well, is a V-berth, which was one thing we didn't think we would like, but we actually have ended up rather liking it. The queen feels much larger just because you don't fall off the sides. We got 2 hatches over the bed. And originally the Bayliner 4788 had there would have been a wall here dividing the master cabin from this little side bunk room. But the walls were taken out long ago, and that just creates storage for us. And then here is the master head, which we also have a bathtub, which is absolutely indulgent. We didn't think we'd actually be using that feature, but we do all the time. How do we like the vacuum flush system? Well, it works really well. It is expensive to maintain. Like every 2 or 3 years, you have to do a full rebuild of it, either yourself or hire somebody, and that costs a few $100 to do, even just with the parts. We are considering replacing one of the heads with a composting toilet, just to give us more flexibility, because pump out stations are not nearly as easy as RV dump stations to find along the way. So we are considering doing a composting toilet just to give us more flexibility. There's Admiral Kiki hard at work. So the wraparound couch in the salon is very comfortable. We love that couch, and that's really the only built-in seating. Well, other than this thing, it's comfy, but we eventually want to turn this into office space. So having a standing desk over there in the corner. And that chair we'd probably have to replace it, go back to the original Bayliner style, which was a movable chair. But apparently this chair is wonderful if you're in rough conditions.
How many people are riding with us?
139.
That's a lot of life jackets right there. testing it out. And, not too far from here is an old abandoned Nike missile silo site, right in there. Back from the first Cold War, I think where the second one starts.
No, we're not going to go full plane, not while doing a video cast. It requires much more concentration, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're kind of just actually hugging the shoreline, so probably not the best time to do it, but yeah.
Yeah, if we go open, maybe we will. About every 3 hours we need to do them full out. So we are currently just at that's our RPMs. See where we are. And just for the sake of less noise, I'll come down below. Actually, can you hand me my computer so I can see what the questions were? So we are, if you're just joining in, we are crossing Barn Sound. We are heading northward up. Well, we're not exactly on the ICW. The ICW is actually a little over that way.
Yeah, we're that bridge that you can see in the distance, and the ICW passes under that.
So we are heading north out of Key Largo, and we're heading just across the sound to an anchorage on the other side to spend the night at that has really high reviews as being tranquil. What is our depth gauge currently at?
5.3.
So we have 5.3 on the depth gauge, and ours is showing, we have ours set to show what is underneath the boat, not not what is actually the depth of the water. So our draft is 3'4" by spec. Of course, loaded down, we're probably a little bit deeper than that. So we can set ourselves our draft to be 4 feet. Then we just round it up for ease. So we're probably in about 9 feet of water here. Randy asked if we'll be adding radar along with the AIS. Yes, we have radar on it, but it is non-functioning at the moment. So we will be getting a full radar system, AIS, full electronics upgrade. So major upgrades coming.
Forward-looking sonar.
How long do we expect our upgrades towards completion? With boat, you just better off not having an expectation, and you'll have a lot less stress that way. AIS stands for
Automatic Identification System, I believe.
Automatic Identification System. So it's a system where when you're looking at a map, you can actually see the boats around you because you're transmitting your coordinates.
Yeah, if they have AIS.
If they have it as well. So it's
all large commercial vessels are required to have it.
So it's another way for especially large commercial vessels to see us recreational boaters and know that we're around and to steer around us.
Well, a lot of recreational boats, they just have AIS receive only and not broadcast because it's important for them to see the commercial vessels. The commercial vessels probably have them on radar anyway, but you want to know what the commercial vessel will tell you its name and the heading it's going at and the speed it's going at. So it's very handy for managing traffic.
Someone asked if we had to start over, would we go bigger or stay the same?
Perfect size, I think.
Well, the size is longer than would be ideal, but we love the layout. So everything's a compromise, of course. If we could find this layout maybe slightly smaller and still new enough to be financed and be in better condition, maybe. But that just wasn't really, that never lined up. So, ideally we would love to be 40 to 42 feet. We'd have much more options for dockage and mooring balls and things like that. And it would be easier to maneuver. But so far, as boating newbies, we're doing pretty well with a 47-footer.
Yeah. Yeah, we pulled out in a crosswind today. That was pretty impressive.
Yes. So what percentage of the time do we drive from the fly bridge up top or in the pilot house, which is what you guys are looking at now? I think we've only done one passage from the pilot house, but remember, we are definitely fair weather boaters. if the weather's not looking good, then we're either seeking a marina or a protected anchorage, and we're in Florida, so it's warm. So the breeze up on the flybridge is actually very, very nice.
Yeah, we popped inside when we've had some rain, and on a hot day we did some air conditioned driving.
Robert says, are you people adventurers, like sail around the world? So we believe that adventurers don't have to just sail around the world. That is a wonderful adventure, and maybe one day we will. But we are adventurers. We've been 11 years on the road, constantly exploring. Now, you're not going to see us rappelling down cliffs too often.
Yeah, I'd happy to do it if the opportunity came up, but I used to have an airplane we carried in the RV. So.
Yeah. Chris used to. We used to have a paramotor that he flew. So we're skydivers. We've done skydiving. I'm a fire dancer. So adventure comes in many forms, not just sailing around the world. And we like to show that you can work remotely, even if your job is not just producing videos. Like a lot of the sailing around the world folks, that's a lot of their income source. And they're wonderful. I mean, we were up last night watching Sailing Delos. We love them, and we love the winds. Oh my gosh, amazing videos. But that's their job. How many times per month do we fuel up? So we typically travel, there's no typical yet. We're just getting started, remember. We've only fueled up twice since we bought the boat in March. Yes, twice, right? No, 3 times.
Yeah, you can put the computer on the thing there and put the thing more in the window, directly in the window, then you get better views.
True. Trying to keep you guys out of the wind as well as seeing the views as well. So we can hold 440 gallons, and we haven't really gotten enough metrics yet to be sure of our burn rate, but we are figuring that gives us at least 500 or 600 miles of range based upon our current calculations. So we have only done, I think this is 250 miles today that we'll complete since we bought the boat. So, and our fuel ups have been small. Like we fueled up just before Irma, just so that we had full tanks before, in case we needed to run the generator when we got back. Is insurance bad on boats? Well, insurance is costly on anything, especially when you're in something that has a higher risk factor. I think we are currently paying about $2,000 per year for full coverage with a $5,000 deductible on the boat, which I don't find that bad. I paid less than that for my house when I had it. Our RV, by comparison, is about half that for a year. I expect that after this hurricane season, boat insurance will be going up for everybody, however.
So we're actually going through Crocodile Lake National Wildlife Refuge. Crocodile Lake National Wildlife Refuge. So keep your eyes peeled for crocodiles.
Okay, so we're going through a crocodile refuge. So there should be crocodiles coming out and visiting us, right?
Yes. Up ahead you can see something that's kind of rare in Florida through the mangroves, a big hill, which is I think a former landfill.
That's a hill?
Yeah, I see it behind the first hill, and it's got a little fence on top. I see it better than binoculars, so.
I can't put the binoculars on them.
Yeah, there's a hill there. With Autopilot, it's just so relaxing compared to driving an RV.
Yeah, so our patrons are also following our GPS track on our Garmin InReach. So we use one of these to do our tracking, and this gives us another communication method. question of how are we doing the mobile internet to be able to stream this live. We are using an iPhone on AT&T, probably connected to that tower right over there that you see. We have an unlimited data plan on this one, so on-device data is unlimited, so it's all on device that we're using on this. There may be some intermittent hiccups as we change towers. That is one of the downsides of cellular, but we should pretty much be staying on the same tower. We're only cruising about 6 miles today.
And we've gone 3.1 so far.
So you guys have been along with us for 3.1 miles. Nautical miles, yes.
It's kind of nice going along the shoreline with less wind, less waves, and good views.
Yeah.
It's not the direct route, but it's more scenic. The direct route of the ICW would have been going straight across the middle of the sun. You can see a boat was doing it right out there.
Yes, I don't know if you guys can see that out there. There's a little white caps. That's kind of where the intercoastal waterway officially is. We have plenty of depth here to just ride the shoreline and give you guys a more scenic route. So RV Dreamin' asked, are we seeing the after effects of the hurricane? So Why Not was actually in Marathon, which was ground zero for Hurricane Irma, and definitely the effects were off the charts horrendous up there. Probably not as bad as the islands out in USVI and St. Thomas in Puerto Rico, however, but it was, you could not open your eyes and not see the effects of the hurricane up there. As we traveled north, it's gotten less and less, but we just went through, I think it was Blackwater Bay, a couple of bays up here. So, anywhere that there were popular anchorages or hurricane holes, we have definitely seen still submerged boats and boats in the mangroves left over. The buildings up this way seem to have much less damage. We were just spent 6 days in Tavernier, Florida, and well, it's not that bad up there at all. There's still debris on the side of the road, and of course, people had lost porches and stuff like that. But the damage was more on scale with what South Florida in general got. But yeah, once you get down to about Marathon, Big Pine Key, and Cujo Key, it's going to take a long time for those areas to recover. Miguel asked, how many months do you think we're going to take doing the loop? We're not on a time schedule with the loop. Our intentions are to keep traveling north. This year, we will definitely be out of the high hurricane season by active hurricane season this summer. But once it gets too cold up north, we'll be returning to the RV in the winters and storing the boat, and that way we can spend several summers up north exploring those gorgeous areas. We definitely want to do both routes on the Erie Canal. We want to do the St. Lawrence Seaway and explore some of those gorgeous areas up that way before turning back south. So we're anticipating that the Great Loop will be, for us, measured in multiple years, but done seasonally. And yes, that is the official burgee of the AGLCA, which is the American Great Loop Cruisers Association, which is a great resource for anyone that is considering doing the Great Loop. They have tons of resources. They have budget planners. They keep people up to date. They have forums. They have seminars. They've got meetups along the loop. So definitely worth it. Anyone considering doing the Great Loop or even just portions of it, definitely worthwhile joining the AGLCA. And you can find them at greatloop.org. Having wandered, asked, ever see anything on the water that made you wish we had a bigger boat? Definitely not wishing we had a bigger boat at this point. This was definitely at the upper end of size that we were comfortable with as boating newbies taking on. We were originally shopping for something about 40 foot, and most of the intercoastal waterway will be in protected waters. what we've done in the last 200 miles, going across the Gulf, along the Everglades, and down to the Keys, is some of the most open water that we will see along the entirety of our loop. Space Checker asked, do we know if some people remove the masts from their sailboats and do the loop? And certainly, yes. There are lots of people that do the loop in a sailboat, and we did consider it because it is very fuel efficient way to travel, because sailboats are just made to be very efficient with power. And so yes, people do. You do have to demast because there are a lot of fixed bridges, and obviously a sailboat is very tall as compared to a motor yacht or a trawler. And you just don't get to sail much when you're in rivers and things like that. So we decided for ourselves that we would go motor yacht because it's a more ideal vessel, and because we're intending to stop places for months at a time sometimes, and more living in this as a condo on water. And we just after 11 years on the road, we were ready for something with more space. But yeah, definitely, there's lots of people doing the loop on sailboats. So Great South Bay Power Squadron says, as we're traveling north on the Sound, you appear to be hugging the east side, but it looks like you have to be in the western side to pass under the bridge. So this passage, we are not going under the bridge. We're actually seeking an anchorage just on the other side of the bridge, on this side of the bridge. And we're intentionally hugging the coast just for the scenery. Plenty of depth out here. We checked all our charts. Jenny asked, how long does it take to get across the Sound? It's about 5 nautical miles. So at the current speed that we're going, it would be probably about 40 minutes if we were just going as the crow flies. But we're taking an intentionally leisurely path. This is, for us, and especially on a boat, what's different for us than RVing is the journey is very much part of the destination. This is part of the experience, is the cruising and the scenery. And I love seeing all the birds flying out there. I'm going to tuck you guys outside. The wind may pick up, so if you've got your speakers turned up, you may want to turn them down. I'll take you outside on the bow. If you're feeling like it, put your arms out and pretend like you're on the Titanic. No, don't pretend you're on the Titanic, but pretend you're doing the Titanic pose. Now you can see some birds over there. You might be able to make out the bridge over that way, and our anchorage is just on the other side of it, but still in this side of the Sound is where we're aiming for. So we're in brackish water. We are in the ICW inside of Key West, or Key Largo-ish area, just north of Key Largo. So it's definitely a salty water. Yes, the weather's amazing. Last few days have been very, very windy. We had, of course, Tropical Storm Philippe visit us over the weekend, which is why we were in Tavernier for so long. If you turn down your microphone for the wind, you're probably safe to come back in. I'll keep you guys inside for a little bit. So the Danforth anchor up there is secure on it. We do need to put a second bungee cord on it since we took that off. We actually stored it for during the hurricane. So we still do need to put an extra bungee cord on it, but it is secure up there. And that is our second anchor. We have a Delta anchor that is on the windlass up there. And we have 200 feet of road, or that is the chain. Once you put the chain on the windlass, it becomes road. So we can anchor in some pretty deep depths and still have significant adequate scope for safe anchoring. Pamela asks, how often do we have our bottom cleaned? In these waters, they're recommending once a month. We've had divers under, we had one out like 1 month after we had a cleaning, and our bottom paint is still, the anti-fouling is holding up very amazingly. It was redone last summer by the previous owner. And so we have actually switched, and because we're also in motion, that also keeps some of the growth off as well, because we're not just sitting in one spot. I think we've been having our bottom cleaned every six to 8 weeks, is seeming to keep on top of the barnacles and growth. It's amazing. This time last year we were just shopping for boats and really didn't know the difference between a trawler and a motor yacht, and at that point we probably did, but here we are doing it. And we both do share piloting and captaining and most aspects of the boating. Chris, however, is on pilot duty. Somehow I got camera duty.
Hi. We're almost there.
Okay, yeah, we're about ready to are we anchoring like right straight up here?
Yep, straight ahead of us.
All right. So this is our anchorage right up here. So I'm going to clip you guys back up on the flybridge. It might get windy up there, so I do recommend turning down your microphones. We will probably not be talking much because we're going to go into getting the boat anchored mode and picking out our anchorage for the evening. And then once we are anchored and secure, we might sit down and chat some more if you guys like. So I'm going to take you guys back up on the flybridge. Like I said, turn down your microphones because it's going to probably get a little windy up there, even though we do have the wind screen on the microphone.
where you want to be. It's a cove big enough for 100 boats. So, yep. And then the place we want to do the dinghy adventure is up that little over here at the river at the creek inlet. To anchoring in the Keys is you want to be far enough out that there's enough breeze you don't get any mosquitoes and bugs. I don't know what's going on here. We've got 6 meters right now. A little bit closer, there'll be a little bit less wind. That's about all I'm thinking. Yeah. Sounds good. Away. Yep, 5 feet exactly. Yeah, go for 70. We got plenty of room to swing. My phone's in use broadcasting. We'll have to manually set it later. Okay. I think we're anchored. We can set it afterwards. And see if our track moves. Okay. Anchors. we are anchored. There we go. Gonna celebrate the anchoring dance party there. Oh, my phone's down to 10%. All this broadcasting. Okay, so we are almost out of battery. So turn off the engines. And then this is the best part about being on a boat, is that just that quiet stillness after you're anchored. Somebody asked, do we use a snubber? Yeah, we do, particularly if the winds are more than calm.
Yeah, actually, we use a bridle.
Yeah, which is a type of snubber, I believe.
It is,
yeah.
but it's a different type. So yeah, I do have a bridle ready to go. We might put it out later.
Yep.
We typically, before going through that effort of putting the bridle out, is we make sure the anchorage is where we want to be, and this is we'll watch the winds, we'll watch how things are first.
Yeah, make sure the anchor is holding really good. This is a muddy bottom here, and we'll see how well we hold.
Yes, we definitely need USB ports on the bridge, and that is one of the upgrades.
Yep. So
we're constantly swapping out these iPads and trying to get them recharged that we're using for our navigation.
Yes.
And
yeah, the 12-volt outlet on the bridge is corroded, so that is one of the immediate projects. Is USB ports everywhere. We're gonna have to end this because we're down to 10% battery, so we're getting pretty low.
You can't go charge it. Oh, you can't.
The microphone.
Nope.
I don't have a combo charger / microphone set up. Next to a sailboat, the rigging's usually not been very noisy. We've been in a marina next to a sailboat, and the rigging wasn't too bad.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us for this cruise. It was enjoyable to have you aboard, and if conditions merit it in the future and we feel safe with it, we might do this again.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.